Hello guys and welcome to another Legit Builds episode. Today we have something sort of a request. So in one of my videos, a friend there, Sitting Duck 01, he basically said he wanted to see a build for the Blackmaw. So Blackmaw is like the assault rifle of the game. Honestly, I have never seen anybody use it. So I was assuming it was not very good. So as you can see, the weapon itself is kind of raw. Like, it shoots slow, shoots hard, it hits hard. Like, you can see that a maximum level, it has 51 damage, which is pretty respectable, and 20 meters range with 60 fall off is very good range. Also has 10% critical hit chance, so all things considered, it does damage. It's just slow, sluggish, and the more you shoot, then the more you can see, like, the crosshairs, they start spreading. So the more you shoot, the least accurate it is. So it's not a problem at shorter ranges like this, but at longer ranges, then it becomes a problem. So it's basically a gun designed to be shot in bursts. The only difference is that if you're using an actual burst gun or rifle, like at close range, then you are not able to do this. So that's kind of like the gimmick here with the gun. Like, from far away you can shoot in bursts so that you can get good critical damage, and then close you can use the full auto capabilities of the weapon. The problem is that I tried looking for play styles that surrounded that burst fire mechanic, and there really isn't much. So we just had to lean to the other side and basically see, since we can't use the burst capabilities of the weapon to its best, then we might as well use the automatic feature. Try to combine that with the high damage and get something reliable that we can work with. Now, before we move into actually seeing the build, because this is obviously not the build, we're gonna see other weapons that also suffer from similar things, right? Like, for example, things like the Aphelions, or let's see, the Repulsor, which by the way, I do have a build with this weapon. I think it's pretty awesome. So the more you can see that the crosshair, well, the circle, it tightens after a bit, which means that it can potentially be more accurate at longer ranges for a shotgun. It's kind of like a laser. It's very cool. It's just the reload is completely slow. It doesn't have a lot of range. The mod is actually very fun too. Whenever you phase something out, it's out of the game until it comes back, and then you do more damage when you hit. So this is another weapon that I like personally, but it's not extremely good, not very consistent. Finally, another weapon that we're gonna use, for example, is the Spore Boom, which is a shotgun. You can see how horrifyingly big this circle is, right? It only has one shot too. Does a lot of damage, as you can see, but it is kind of sluggish. It doesn't have a lot of like effective range. Already at this range, you're just doing 300, and this is a maxed out weapon, so it's not a lot, regrettably. So these weapons, they all suffer from the same thing. They are very they underperform when compared to other things. Like, you compare, like, for example, Alpha Omega, the Monarch, of course, Nightfall, even Nightfall, Plasma Cutter, Pulse Shield, like pretty much everything else outperforms these guys. The Blackmaw is pretty strong though when it comes to damage, so it does have the damage. It's just everything else that's kind of trashy. The reload is slow. I would love to just kill this guy. He always interrupts my videos. So yeah, so that's what we focused on. So let's go ahead and see the build. There's certain variations that you can do with this build, and you can get different numbers. But the first things that I want you to note here to the left is, first, we do have 50% damage reduction, which is pretty big and kind of necessary if you're playing Apocalypse difficulty. In Nightmare, it makes you just like very sturdy. We also have 20% less skill cooldown. We have more power generation. Important things here are critical damage at 80. We have ranged damage at 75. That is a lot. We have weak spot damage plus 15 that will increase with our rings, and then we have range critical chance 20%, which is kind of high. So those 20% critical hit chance stacked with this 10% and momentum to up to 60% chance and a lot of extra damage. So this build is a DPS build. We are focusing solely on making the Blackmaw as deadly as possible. Now, in the process of doing that, I actually developed a playstyle based in slowing and stasis, because it goes very well. Like, if you put all of your cards into just making a weapon powerful, you want to be able to use that weapon as effectively as possible. And what's more effective than an immobile enemy, right? So that's where the idea came from, and that's why we have this Temporal Commando concept going on. So let's see what we're using. When it comes to skills, I'm using the Bullet Storm and I'm using Hunter's Mark. Let it be known, the skills are really not that important. The reason why these archetypes were selected is because of their perks. Primarily the damage perk and utility perks, that both of them give perks to the weapon directly, and reload speed bonuses. Now, if you're going to be fighting in places where you know that you're going to face multiple enemies, I recommend you using Hunter's Mark. It is, in my opinion, one of the best abilities in the whole game. It gives you a solid advantage. If you're not, or you're going to just fight a boss, then you can go ahead and use Hunter's Focus. We're going to showcase why Hunter's Focus. If you're using Hunter's Focus, you do not need the Targeting Jewel. Targeting Jewel, we use it to tighten the crosshair of the weapon. We're gonna see that now. Now, for the amulet, we have Participation Medal, which gives us 10 health, 10 stamina, movement speed 10%, and damage reduction 10%. That's why we have above average health, stamina. We do have all 50% damage reduction, and effectively we always have 25% movement speed. So that's important. Always 25% movement speed. So we're actually kind of fast, and we can take at least one hit. Then for the traits, we have Long Shot, which gives 6 more meters to our weapons. We have more ammo, more ammunition. So again, those two things obviously benefit our Maw. That is currently, if you're not using Targeting Ring, thanks to Long Shot, you're still going to have 26 meters of ideal range. If you have Targeting Ring, that's 30 meters of ideal range for this one. And right now, the MP60 that we're using, you would just add to 27 meter range. So that is huge for submachine gun. That's just, wow, that's a lot. And then we're using Encrypted Ring. I'll explain why shortly. We have Sania's Malice for more weak spot damage. We have Probability Core for more critical damage. And this one, Targeting Jewel, again, this is not necessary if you're using Hunter's Focus. It is very recommended if you're using Hunter's Mark. So let's see what's going on here. Basically, what you have here is basically a fast DPS type of build. You go in, you do damage, and that's basically your only card to play here, is doing a lot of damage. When it comes to healing, we have two things. We have hearts. I don't care what heart you want to use. Honestly, it does not affect directly the build. I'm using Enlarged Heart because of the innate double use speed. This build can heal a lot, so we're just going to be using this in emergencies. I do have, as you can see, the modifiers, well, the mods there, well, the mutators. I have Mystic Range Critical Chance for more critical chance. I have more damage, and I have less weapon spread. Again, we are using a lot of things to reduce the weapon spread of the Blackmaw, because it's the contrary to the Chicago typewriter. The more you shoot, the worse it gets, right? Then for weapons, we're using the Blackmaw. We're using Stasis Beam, which is huge for this build for several reasons, and momentum to stack critical hit chance and damage. We have God Splitter, which with Shielded Strike, that gives us some type of survivability at close range. And Fracture, which is pretty good because it stacks with Sania's Malice. So you effectively use Sania's Malice also with your God Splitter. Plus, it's attacks pretty fast, so you can get shield pretty quickly. And finally, we have the MP60 with time lapse, which is a bubble that traps opponents in, like in a time bubble thingy. And then we have Bullet Weaver, which increases the rate of fire of this one and increases the mod power generation for this weapon. So all in all, first of all, if you're not using the targeting jewel and you are instead using Hunter's Focus, you're going to see how the Blackmaw, check out how good already the targeting is on our weapon. This is because we are also using handling, and we have 40% better handling. So 40% better handling here already helps the weapon massively, as you can see. It opens up, but it's not too bad. If you go ahead and you use Hunter's Focus, then you can see how it doesn't even open up. You see? Now the damage of this weapon is very consistent. You can see a single magazine. Like the DPS on this weapon is ridiculous. A single magazine is gonna hit like 17k. And that is without even using Bulletstorm, so you can always have either this Hunter's Focus on, or you can have Bulletstorm on. Then the mod will let you paralyze, like slow down and then paralyze enemies. The important thing here is, if you use it like this, you can see down where my skills are that the ring that heals is activated. So whenever you need heal, you tap the button 3 times, and you're gonna effectively get 60 HP back in 30 seconds. So that's why I say that normally you're always gonna be healing. If something does not kill you in a single blow, then you can regenerate it. And in the cases of emergency, we have always our hearts, right? So yeah, so the weapon does a lot of damage. Then we have Bulletstorm. Again, it doesn't really matter which one of the skills you want to use. They're inconsequential, but Bulletstorm is a great one, and it is good for doing some decent DPS in a pickle, right? Now, the other way of using this build is, again, with the targeting jewel, which also gives you the advantage of having 4 extra meters for like bigger maps such as Nerud, right? But it also allows you to use Hunter's Mark, which is very good. Maybe not particularly against not against bosses, maybe, not all bosses. If you have a boss that's just one big enemy, you probably want to go with Hunter's Focus for sure. And if you want to use a different ring, different than targeting ring, then obviously you can go ahead and use Hunter's Focus. But if not, just go, if you don't mind using this slot for targeting jewel, then just go ahead and slap that Hunter's Mark there, because it helps you and it helps your team. And finally, we are using a consumable. The one that we're going to be using is Tranquility Front, which will give us that extra edge. So it reduces reticle sway, spread, and gun recoil by 35%. So with this, we basically complete the build for the Blackmaw, and what we have is a very efficient, constant, great damage at 30 range. So basically, we do have a very powerful DPS weapon right here. You can see how the spread is not even there anymore. You can always use this to tag everybody, increasing your damage, critical hit chance, etc., etc. You can use this for increase even more damage. Like, this build does a lot of damage with the Blackmaw because the weapon on its own does a lot of damage. So you can see that we can consistently get over 2-3k damage. And it gets interesting when it comes to the dynamic of this. You only do damage, but you can also paralyze a very strong enemy that's coming straight at you. You can paralyze them with this. If there's a lot of enemies, you can paralyze them with this, basically making you missing them easy picks for your assault rifle. And that kind of becomes your playstyle with this build. So the build basically surrounds the Blackmaw as the primary way of doing damage. Again, this build or similar builds, maybe a little more tilted towards reload speed, could potentially help weapons like my Repulsor. Repulsor, again, is a weapon that I really like. I have builds with it, and you can see how it changes from the crap that you always see to almost a sniper laser rifle. Of course, we would have to, again, tweak this build for more reload speed using because this thing reloads slow, but you can see from afar how the shot is. It's just a single dot. Zoom, zoom, zoom. Very cool. Other weapons, even short-range weapons like the Spore Gloom, right? You can see how tiny It becomes a slug, basically. There is no spread. It's just a single shot. Boom. Almost like a sniper rifle, but extremely strong also in close range. But you can see the difference. This is just because of handling, because of all the bonuses that we're wearing, right? So that is the build. I hope you like it. If you like the Blackmaw or have always wanted to use it to see, you know, to just enjoy it and play like some type of commando, then go ahead and give this build a try. For sure, you're gonna wreck things with the Blackmaw. You're gonna just wreck. So now we're gonna go ahead and do some gameplay, and so you can see more or less with me some commentaries, and then I'm gonna add more videos later on, maybe 2 or 3 with more gameplay, like helping people and killing bosses. Basically, we're all playing in Apocalypse now because we are maxing our builds, so there's no point in playing anything else. So, well, enjoy. GG. So let's start with, I just got to the labyrinth, okay, so we're gonna do a little exploration with the Temporal Commando build. So I can explain a bit while I use it and show you how great it is. I hope I don't die and embarrass myself.
Here we go.
You can see the shield that we gain attacking. It's not a lot of damage, but it gives us a lot of shield to work with, so we already have some survivability there. You can see how easy it was to just defeat one of those like mini-boss type of creatures. Because we can just paralyze them. If you have multiple, you can just do this, and again, like, they have no chance against you. Not with the damage that the Blackmaw does, and without them the ability to move, it's just GG, bro. It's GG. You can see how easy it is to just navigate, and this is the maximum difficulty, and even then it's like, fuck you gonna do about it? Like, I can paralyze them, I can heal myself, I can do a lot of damage. It's just very fun altogether and very effective. You do need a bit of good aim for this build. It is a build that emphasizes in having an accurate weapon, you know, so you better have some good aim. If you're in a computer, then you have a keyboard and mouse, so you should be okay. But I mean, like, for console players, would be good for you to have good aim for this build. If not, you're kind of like wasting a bit the potential of the build, because literally all that this does is shoot. So
This isn't.
well, that was kind of scary. All right then. I like these little lights, how they look. Like, anyhow, let's see what's going on here. So you can see my HP, right? I'm damaged. So you can just always turn your thing. 1, 2, 3. That's it. Do it and forget. You can do it in the middle of combat or whatever. It's going to give you pretty good regen. Oh, here it is. So that's why we have less hearts. Like, you might need more hearts if you're playing with people. Oof. Sorry guys. If you're playing with people and you want to like revive them, then you're okay to use like different hearts, you know, it's all fine. But other than that, you normally won't need them with this build. Yeah, this is gonna be fun. This is, again, this is maximum difficulty, so you can see how much damage this thing does.
Come on, come on. Bag's full. I've got enough of that.
That stupid thing thinks I'm scared of it, huh? You're just a flying block, bro. Literally. No chance, bro. No chance. Just stay there while I destroy your butt. So the game actually becomes very interesting because you just have to manage your mods correctly. And between the mods, you have the accuracy, you have the range, you have the damage. The mods will help you slow down enemies so you can just pick them up one by one. But if you play the build correctly, you should be just fine, right? I mean, even at max difficulty, this is a dumb fight. So let's go ahead and see what's up. Oh, you cunt. Oh, that other guy is really hurting me. Ooh. Okay, stay there for a second while I figure out what to do here. Oh, that thing is really hurting my ass. Ooh. It's my fault. I should have frozen him at first when he opened up the first time, so I kind of deserve that. As you can see, like, since you can change the pace of the battle, it becomes pretty comfortable. Now, the abilities, especially the time bubble that helps you manage multiple enemies. I mean, if you want to skip that one for like a boss fight because you might need something else, it's completely understandable. The bubble is not very good against certain bosses, right? But the laser, the stasis beam is always pretty decent. Oh, there's two of those shits. Yeah, I'm good, bro. Oh, la mierda. Oh, two of them. And they're picking up a bunch of those disgusting tiny ones. Okay, here's the other one. Not bad. So, I mean, again, it's, if you like it, it is a bit technical using the time stop abilities, but once you get used to it, they're actually pretty strong, and the build has the firepower, so you don't need to worry about too much about that. Like, you do have a lot of damage. Again, this is the maximum difficulty, and it's not really that difficult when you have good aim. Check out that HP, man. This is just too easy, bro. So this is, to me, basically an optimal gunslinger. Remember also, thanks to the ability of the hunter, whenever you connect weak spot damage, you also extend the duration of the ability of seeing everybody. So potentially it lets you know where everybody is. You can slow them down in group. You can slow one target down, and you do a lot of damage with both your weapons. So the build is simple, but it kind of, I feel like it's kind of like the soul of this game. It's basically being an RPG/shooter, and this guy will let you just play that style. With a weapon that, being honest, after all of the buffs and upgrades that we gave it, it feels very strong. Like, again, we're doing between 15 and 20k damage per magazine, so that is a lot. And again, up to 30 meters range, so that is a lot. Remember, the sniper rifles have like 35 meters range. So, well, thanks for watching. Stay tuned for the coming videos for gameplay. There won't have commentaries, but you will be able to see a bit more of what you just saw. The build works, and it's very fun. It's very focused on a single weapon, and again, it can be translated into other similar weapons that struggle with their spread, right? That's why here we have critical chance, range damage, and weapon spread, right? That's what we're aiming for. Other weapons that can benefit from this are mostly the ones that have very bad, like Bulldog. Chikao Typewriter can become a monster. Ford Scattergun becomes kind of like a rifle. This thing really doesn't need it. Monarch is pretty accurate, but still you're always going to want to use Chain of Command anyway, so it's kind of pointless. This is a laser rifle. Like all of the weapons become very strong in this type of builds whenever you focus all of the resources on the weapon. So basically what this build does is, again, does a lot of damage with the weapon and facilitates for you to do that damage easily with basically freezing one target or freezing multiple targets. So there you have it. I hope you enjoyed it. Give it a try. It is very fun and it is very strong. Now, if you're having a bit of trouble with survivability, you can always trade out also targeting Jewel. For example, for Black Cat Ring is a good option. You can also Ring of the Robust, Seal of the Empress, or basically anything that will increase your survivability. If you want some shield, rerouting cable will help you, or even if you want some shield whenever you activate one of your skills, that you can use Excel's Coil. So there's a bit of room for moving things and making more as you prefer it, but overall, yeah, by managing handling and rate of fire and reload speed, we basically have a very strong Blackmaw build. So thank you again for watching. Stay tuned for the gameplay videos, guys, and have an excellent rest of your week. I'll see you around, and